Hey everybody, and welcome to rabb1t's Ramblings, podcast 414. I don't have too much to say this time, but I did pick up early access for Witchfire, so I'll have a little bit to say about that, and that's it for this time. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show. I have actually been following Witchfire for years and years and years. So long, in fact, that when I started following it, it didn't even have a name. The company that created it had just set up their name for their company. So it's probably been somewhere between 5 and 7 years, I would guess. For the last year, it has been in early access on Epic, but I wanted to wait for it to come out for Steam. Now it is on early access for Steam, so I don't know how much longer it's going to be before it's finished. It is a single-player shooter of a gothic style. The world is sort of being taken over by witches. It has a fictional background which sort of split from us, I guess, in the 1400s maybe, I would guess, and I think the game takes place around the 1800s, but it seems like they have set it up where pretty much half the world is witches and the other half are the people trying to, keep them in control and fight off their evil undead forces, etc. So it seems like a pretty cool world setting. It is a very, I guess I would call it a hardcore / precise shooter. It is not a high action bullet hell. It's actually the total opposite, where you're going very slow and you want to be very careful how much ammunition you use. And you definitely want to be very, very careful about how many people you're fighting at once, because even the lowliest of bad guys can kill you if they hit you enough times. And by enough times, I mean when your character is new, that's about 3 or 4 times. So you are pretty fragile when you start the game. Right now, I think I heard it mentioned that there are 3 areas you will go and explore, and they unlock over time. So when you start, you only have the 1 area. I think by launch, they plan to have 5 or 6 areas. I'm not totally sure. But it has both Souls-like and roguelike elements. The roguelike element comes in when you enter the area. Like, I'm on the first map, so the map is always the same. But where the bad guys are and what the bad guys are is randomized each time, which includes when I die and go back. So that is all ever-changing. Also, when you kill a group of bad guys, you'll get 1 of 3 different buffs. You have to use a special feather to unlock the 3rd option, so it's really just 1 of 2 buffs that you get to pick from early on. But then you just go through that cycle. You'll get a buff, you'll kill a pack of bad guys, you get another buff, and you keep going as long as you feel safe to continue. Like I said, when you start off, you're pretty low level, and that is where it is sort of Souls-like, in that when you kill these creatures, you're getting what is called Witchfire, and that is basically Souls for people familiar with Dark Souls-like games. So you have to get off the map with that Witchfire, and then with that you can, upgrade your level, and then I think you can also use it to unlock stuff eventually, but early on, the only thing you can do with it is level up your person. And as you get higher level, you will get access to different kinds of research, and then the different kinds of research will give you access to new weapons as well as magic. I just barely unlocked a long rifle, which is sort of a sniper weapon, very slow shot, and it's got decent range. I think things here are a much shorter range than people might be used to, but you get used to it. And then I unlocked my first of the quick spells. There's a quick spell and a slow spell, and I think you can equip one of each. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I just unlocked the first quick spell, which is sort of a cone in front of me that freezes some guys, so that is very helpful. And then that's pretty much the cycle. You go through, you get Witchfire, you try and escape alive to take it with you. There are, of course, crystallized forms which will, not break on death, and those you get to keep regardless. But then you're, leveling up your person, you're doing your research, and you're also exploring different mysteries, which will lead to where the witch is, I assume, on this island. I haven't dared gone into the center of the island yet. The odds are just now, like I said, starting to even up where I feel confident enough to sort of fight the heavier areas. But then there's also all kinds of other mysteries. I'm not sure, what they lead to, what they unlock, but they're little hints for, you do this or you do that, and then you figure out what it is. And it's all very cool. I like it quite a bit. Like I said, it's gothic, so I'm pretty into that. It is a, like I said, very realistic / precise shooter, so there's a little bit of weapon sway when you're moving back and forth or this way or that. The projectiles have travel speed, so you have to be careful. If a person's farther away, you're probably more likely to miss because the bullet's gonna, arc a certain way and the bad guy's gonna move a certain way. So, there's an increased chance, in that time that it takes to get to the bad guy that you'll miss. But it's all very cool because it's not so out of control that it feels bad. It's just out of control enough, I guess I could say, that it feels, correct and solid for a weapon of the type that you're shooting. I chose the sort of hardest option to start with, but my guy has a hand cannon, which I do like quite a bit, so it does a really big hit if I get in close to people. But as I, get further out, the drop off on damage gets pretty quick, but it is, super accurate. But I don't know. Give it a look. There's lots of YouTube videos about people talking about it. I guess about a year ago when it first came into early access on Epic. And then there's a lot of recent videos of when it came up on early access on Steam. And it's only $40, so it's not, full AAA price. They're not, a AAA studio. They're a very small studio, so it won't be, this massive sprawling game. It will be, much closer to a shooter of the old school era. I guess you could say probably circa 1990s style, where you've got this thing, this is what the game is about, and it doesn't, get super deep or super involved or super crazy. It just does that, very specific group of things really well. And if you are into shooters, especially the not bullet storm shooters, I would highly recommend it so far. And that's all there is really to talk about this time. I guess First Descendant has some new stuff, but I kind of stopped caring, I guess. It's like, I don't know, I'm more into what they call the dungeons, where you go in and you go through a different area and you fight different groups of guys, and it goes through, and maybe there's a puzzle area, and maybe there's a area you stop and you defend, and all of that sort of stuff, but they don't seem to really be focusing on adding more of that. They seem to more be focusing on these super big boss encounters, which the boss is meh. I don't know. I think it's honestly one of the least interesting aspects about the game, because fighting the boss, if your group knows how to fight them correctly, is only really about 5 minutes, and then you're done. And then it's like you have a chance for decoding a specific thing that you need, 20 of or 100 of to get the thing you want. So I don't know, just the grind of it stopped interesting me. And then it's like I am grinding for this one weapon, but I don't really need that weapon. I do just fine without the weapon or the descendant. And it's like, so why am I doing this? And it's like collecting other descendants to do other types of content, but the content can be done with multiple people. So why am I doing this? I don't know. It's a whole lot of horizontal progression, which I just decided, I don't really care because I've already, seen what there is to see, and I don't see anything being really amazing in the future. So I don't know. I did also pick up Throne and Liberty and played that for I think about 5 or 6 hours before I got really sick of the tab target controls. If you're into tab target controls though, it does look like a pretty decent game. I don't know, it just feels really old school to me. Like you'll be in an area with a bunch of bad guys and like 1 in 10 of the bad guys is aggro to you, and so it's like you're fighting and killing this monster, but the other monsters around you are just sitting there going, not doing anything, and it just felt weird. Granted, I did only get up to like level, I think it was 18, so I wasn't at all high level, but like I said, I couldn't stand the tab target nature anymore. I got into a fight with a boss and like 10 or 15 guys around the boss, and so my character was starting to do things like I would press an attack button and they would turn, 100 degrees to the side and attack the side. And it's like, what are you doing? That's not the way I'm facing my camera. This makes no sense. And so that got really frustrating and stupid. Not to mention trying to figure out which of the 10 guys in front of me was the one I was targeting, and was it the one I wanted to target? And I was just like, okay, I am done, because when you get to 50, this is probably how the end game dungeon is going to be, and that is not something I want to experience. So I don't know. I would recommend it maybe if you're into tab target games. It is free to play, so no harm checking it out. But if you're like me and you're like, no, I need full action control, it's a hard pass. But I guess that's really it for this time. I feel, okay. I'm doing a lot of work on something for Daggerheart, which doesn't come out for like 6 months, and I'm not allowed to publish the stuff I'm doing. So I'm working on it, but I can't post it for anybody to look and play with yet, which is sad because it's a spooky Halloween time thing, and I wanted people to be able to play with it for that, since it is beta. I figured people, in the beta client, and they're like, oh, we've played what stuff there is in the beta client. We want to keep playing. I figured they could keep playing with my stuff, but I guess not. That is not allowed. So it will have to wait for full release there. But I do hope, everybody has a super fun Halloween time. And I don't know what I will talk about next time, because I don't know what else is coming up. And I have no money, so I can't buy anything. I think Frostpunk 2, I think that was actually delayed for a long time from now. I think something else might be coming out soon, though. I think the new Dragon Age game might be coming out in a couple weeks. I am sort of interested in that. I am very curious about it. I don't think I would want to pay more than $30 or $40 for it, because it seems a very high action, and games like that tend to be very fast playthroughs, which if I'm going to play a Dragon Age game, and I'm going to spend, full price on it, I want it to be at least like 80 hours. That doesn't seem unreasonable for that kind of game. But from the looks of it, I would guess it's probably a 20 or 30 hour and you're done playthrough. I guess we'll see. Reviews will probably come out pretty soon. But again, hopefully everybody will have a good Halloween time, and I will find something to talk about for next time, hopefully in 3 weeks. And hopefully I'll see everybody then. Okay, thanks, bye. You have been listening to Rabbit's Ramblings. If you would like to see the show notes or feed the bunny by sending a donation, you can find the show website at www.rabbit.com/podcast/rabbitsramblings.html. When you type Rabbit's Ramblings, don't use a space. If you would like to send me an email, you can do so at rabbit@rabbit.com. If you like my page, you can also post on Facebook at rabbit.com. You can follow me on YouTube at rabb1t's. I have a page on Patreon at www.patreon.com/rabbit, RABB1T. You can set up a monthly recurring subscription there at a price point of your choice. Be sure to put the number 1 in place of I anytime you type rabbit. Rabbit's Ramblings is copyright Eric Stryker, using a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Derivatives License, 2024.